Good evening, I'm Ces Orenia Drilon.
I'm Pauline Verzosa. And I'm Sean Yao.
The big stories tonight. The PNP is closely watching main personalities in the disappearance of cockfight enthusiasts. Self-proclaimed whistleblower alias Totoy is now under protective custody as authorities work on his status from suspect to state witness. Meantime, at least 15 policemen are under restrictive custody for being tagged as executioners of the missing Sabongeros.
And it's a busy time for the Department of Public Works and Highways. On top of DPWH's still-to-do list, repairs on major bridges including San Juanico, EDSA's rehabilitation, and unfinished flood control projects.
And FIVOLCS has more than enough signs that Taal volcano is ripe for another explosion. It's a double whammy for fishermen in Taal Lake, now worried about an imminent eruption and dwindling sales.
Problema kasi rito, these people were identified as forming part of the group. Hindi lang dumukot, ngunit tumapos sa buhay ng mga sabongero. At ang mahalaga lang talaga rito ay maging malinaw ang kanilang partisipasyon.
Bigyan natin sila ng pagkakataon din na sagutin yung mga reklamo laban sa kanila. Hindi namin sila bibigyan ng puwang na paglaruan ng ating hustisya.
PNP Chief Nicolas Torre III says 15 policemen implicated in the disappearance of Sabongeros are now restricted to Camp Crame. All are active policemen, with some positively identified in the vouchers submitted as evidence by self-proclaimed whistleblower Julie Patidongan alias Totoy. Torre also said there could be more areas aside from Taal Lake where victims have been buried. Mobile journalist Arles de los Santos with tonight's big story.
Wala kaming sasantuhin dito, we will leave no stones unturned.
This is PNP Chief Nicolas Torre III's assurance as the preliminary investigation on the disappearance of dozens of Sabongeros go into full swing. The country's top cop confirms 15 policemen are currently under restrictive custody at the Camp Crame after being tagged in the crime. Some of PNP officers' names appeared in petty cash vouchers submitted as evidence by Julie Dondon Patidongan alias Totoy, the self-proclaimed whistleblower in the case. One is a lieutenant colonel. Torre believes there could be more policemen involved.
Basta marami sa kanila is nasa support units, may mga galing sa region, may mga sa APC, ina-account natin at may mga, lahat sila active. May isa is, except for one due for retirement at tatlo na dismissed. Dati na dismissed ang identified ng mga pangalan na yan.
Patidongan is now under protective custody of the Philippine National Police. General Torre admits they have been in talks with alias Totoy as well as other witnesses since he was CIDG chief. And per Torre's initial investigation, the victims were burned, buried, and disposed not just in Taal Lake but in other places as well. The PNP chief declined to comment if there are other higher-ranking officials implicated in what could be a massive abduction and murder case.
In the interest of fair play, bigyan natin sila ng pagkakataon din na sagutin yung mga reklamo laban sa kanila. Pero isang sigurado rito, hindi namin sila bibigyan ng puwang na paglaruan ng ating hustisya.
For his part, Justice Secretary Boying Remulla also confirmed being in discussions with Patidongan for months now. The alleged whistleblower's application for the DOJ's Witness Protection Program is underway.
Nagkaharap kami 2 months ago at nagkaharap kami ulit 1 month ago. May copy na kami yan. May copy na kami. Binigyan niya na kami ng copy. Ang problema kasi rito, these people were identified as forming part of the group na hindi lang dumukot, ngunit tumapos sa buhay ng mga sabongero. At ang mahalaga lang talaga rito ay maging malinaw ang kanilang partisipasyon dito sa mga pangyayaring tinutukoy natin.
Remulla says there are more witnesses willing to come forward to reveal what they know about the case. The DOJ is committed to hearing all of them out. The Justice Department also discloses that the Supreme Court is investigating members of the judiciary who allegedly fixed businessman Atong Ang's case. SC has not confirmed this. Recall that Patidongan has linked a former judge in Mandaluyong City to Ang, a gambling industry tycoon.
Basta yung ibang behavior na inaano namin, naharta namin na hindi maganda para sa justice system. Basta they're doing their job. Ano naman sila eh? hindi naman sila balat sibuyas. They're very sensitive about what should be done to improve our justice system. And that's what we've been agreeing on since we started 3 years ago with the Justice Sector Coordinating Council. Kaya we're always in agreement with regards to how to improve the justice system. And the Supreme Court is the best ally that we have for this.
Apart from Atong Ang and actress Gretchen Barreto, the so-called Alpha Group of Manila Arena has 18 other members now being investigated, and the DOJ says it has the full list.
Ito yung Alpha Group na ating pinanonood ngayon, kung sino-sino ito at kung ano ang kanilang partisipasyon. Kasi kinakailangan yan lahat ma-validate. I cannot reach any conclusions right now, pero syempre the witness is the best person to say that. No? We cannot put words into the mouth of the witness. At meron din kami hawak na written statement na that serves as a guide para sa aming pagtingin sa kasong ito.
Mobile Journal Arles de los Santos. We are One News.
In other news, work on the Samal-Davao Connector Bridge project continues despite the issuance of a writ of kalikasan by the Supreme Court. The Public Works Department said it will continue with the construction, which is now 38% complete, unless a temporary restraining order is issued against it. The DPWH added that its legal department is also constantly reviewing the project in compliance with the Supreme Court's directive. The agency assured the public that it will address the issues raised in the petition.
Meanwhile, President Bongbong Marcos wants the ongoing rehabilitation of the San Juanico Bridge expedited. Speaking in Palo, Leyte, the president highlighted the mounting public frustration caused by the current restrictions on the bridge that links the provinces of Leyte and Samar. President Marcos said he wants the bridge's load limit increased to 12 to 15 metric tons by December of this year and eventually to its original load capacity of 33 metric tons.
Alam ko pong ramdam ninyo ang abala rito sa Leyte dahil sa kalagayan ng San Juanico Bridge. Mahabang pila, mabagal ang biyahe, maraming naaabala. Inatasan ko na ang DPWH at DBM na hanapan agad ito ng solusyon. Agaran tayong kumilos at patuloy na kikilos upang muling maging ligtas at matibay ang ating San Juanico Bridge.
Another big-ticket project the DPWH has in the pipeline is the rehabilitation of EDSA. The initiative has been suspended by President Marcos, who said that he wants more options explored to make the rehab shorter. Estimates place the EDSA rebuild project's completion in 2 to 3 years. DPWH Secretary Manny Bonoan said they continue to look for technologies that can address this and that he plans to propose to move the EDSA rehab to next year.
And now let's hear more about the DPWH's plans for these key projects. We have on the show tonight the agency's Assistant Secretary for DPWH Operations, Loretta Malaluan. Good evening to you, ASEC. Welcome to the big story.
Good evening po at sa inyong lahat ng taga-subaybay.
Marami po tayong pag-uusapan. Unahin natin po yung Davao-Samal Bridge update. We understand construction is still ongoing. Dahil po ba walang tepo ang Court of Appeals sa Cagayan de Oro? Ito po ba ang dahilan?
Yung pong sa Samal Bridge Project po ay tuloy naman po ang ating ongoing po yung ating project.
Dahil po nag-issue ang Supreme Court ng writ of kalikasan, hindi ho ba ito susundin ng DPWH?
Pinag-aaralan po ngayon ng aming legal service po yung tungkol po dyan sa naging decision ng Supreme Court.
ASEC, we understand that prior to China being chosen as the project proponent, merong proposal ang JICA which was cheaper, more concessionary rates, official development assistance, tapos hindi po ma-harm ang environment. Bakit kaya hindi na, although of course this was during the time of President Duterte, bakit po kaya hindi napili ang JICA project at ang pinili ay China?
nataon kasi na itong Samal Bridge project natin ay ang under ng Unified Project Management Office po namin. Hindi ko lang po alam ang naging talagang dahilan kung bakit ang China ang napili instead po ng JICA.
O sige po, dumako na lang tayo po sa San Juanico Bridge. Kaya po ba na magawa ng DPWH ang marching order po ni Presidente na itaas na agad-agad sa 15 tons ang pwedeng makarga ng tulay?
Yan po ang tinitignan ng DPWH dahil nga po ito po ang panawagan ng ating Pangulong Bongbong Marcos.
Kaya naman po. Bago magtapos ang
po.
taon, I believe he said.
Tinitignan po natin yan na talaga pong matatapos natin. Sana po kasi alam naman po natin na medyo tag-ulan na rin po. Pero susubukan po namin at kakayanin na matatapos po. Ayon po sa instruction ni Presidente Bongbong Marcos.
Engineer Malaluhan, binanggit rin po ng Presidente na 500 million pesos po ang inalot niya para po ma-achieve itong 12 to 15 metric ton load limit ng San Juanico Bridge. Ang tanong, sapat po ba yun? Dahil medyo mahaba po kasi yung tulay. So kasya po ba ang 500 million pesos?
Depende po kasi sa magiging... kasi po itataas natin yung tonnage po sa 15 ano. Pero palagay ko naman po ay sapat na yon para po ma-attain po natin yung ating ninanais na load limit po sa San Juanico Bridge.
Nasa na po tayo sa proseso po nitong pagre-reinforce ng San Juanico Bridge? Meron na po ba kayong napiling bridge designer, engineers, consultant, contractor? Can you tell us more about the project?
Meron po tayong meron na tayong consultant po at meron na po tayong consultant na naatasan po para mag-design po at tumingin nga po sa naging damage or nitong ating tulay. At ganoon din po, tuloy na po ang pagsasagawa nitong ating tulay. Para nga po yung ating timeline po ay ma-attain natin.
So right now, meron po ba tayong makikitang mga construction worker na around the bridge or sa ilalim?
Meron na po. Inaayos na po.
ASEC, pag-usapan naman po natin ang EDSA rehabilitation. Usap-usapan na ito for ilang buwan na po, but it has been moved already to next year. Ano na po ang magiging direksyon ng rehabilitation project na ito? What technologies are you looking at? Because there are also some tech firms na nag-propose po gumamit ng AI para mapabilis din itong proyekto.
Lahat po ng mga proposals na sinubmit namin ay ine-evaluate namin. Kaya nga po nagkaroon din po kami ng piloting para experiment po na kung saan gumamit po kami ng mga bagong technology and materials po para mapabilis nga po ang construction ng EDSA or rehabilitation or rebuild na tinatawag natin para po at least 6 months to 1 year po ay matapos ang rebuild po na or rehabilitation ng EDSA instead po na 2 years. Ito rin po ay base sa instruction ng ating Pangulong Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos.
And ASEC, aling mga sections po ang ipaprioritize? Because I also believe that magiging iba na yung plano, hindi na siya lane by lane. It will be done by segments. Tama po ba, ASEC?
Opo, noon pa naman po ay segments po na ang sinasabi po natin na lane by lane ay kung ano lang po yung uunahin. Ang priority pa rin naman po natin ay itong sa bus lane in preparation din naman po doon sa ating ASEAN.
Okay, so habang wala pa po tayo sa 2026, may nakikita po akong may mga gawa pa rin sa EDSA, ASEC, no? Ano po yung mga quick fixes, kumbaga, na ine-employ natin bago itong malakihang rebuild project?
Bali, nagkakaroon din po tayo ng ilang paglalagay ng asphalt, lalo na doon sa mga sections na na deteriorated po talaga para po hindi naman maabala yung ating trapiko.
Marami pong salamat sa inyong panahon, Assistant Secretary Loretta Malaluan ng DPWH. Thank you.
All right, moving on now to another story. FIVOLCS is warning about another possible eruption of the Taal volcano in Batangas. Since last month, state volcanologists have monitored an increase in real-time seismic energy and low levels of sulfur dioxide emissions. What this means is that on the surface, the crater is not emitting gas, but inside, there may be a blockage of pathways that could lead to short-term pressurization and trigger an eruption. It could be phreatic or steam-driven, or even a minor one with some magma or molten rock.
Hindi naman necessarily sasabog kaagad, pero possible na sign ito na nagkakaroon ng pressure build-up, kaya kailangan natin bandayan. As long as you have the right ingredients, you have water coming into contact with hot volcanic materials, pwede pong magkaroon ng pagsabog.
In Balete, Batangas, the local government is now continuously ensuring that there are no people in the permanent danger zone. Coast Guard and municipal disaster teams also conduct daily rounds of areas around Taal.
At lagi nilang tinitingnan kung may mga tao diyan. So hindi sila, kung may tao man, siguro sa araw, so pinapauwi na rin nila sa hapon. At hindi pwede sila matulog diyan.
However, residents, especially those who fish for a living, are complaining of their dwindling incomes. Their sales have been steadily dropping since the missing sabongeros came up. There have been stories that fish in Taal Lake have been feeding on the remains of the sabongeros, something that the Bureau of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources, or BFAR, has repeatedly debunked.
Unat sa po sa aming mga anak na nag-aaral, hindi po namin matustusan ang kanilang pangangailangan sa araw-araw. Isa pa po doon ay ang aming pangangailangan tulad po ng mga pagkain.
Ay dilikas, nang walang-wala. Abay, sobra pong hirap, tapos ang taas pa po ng bilihin ngayon.
And now let's get more updates on Taal's unrest. We speak to Dr. Paul Alanis of FIVOLCS. Magandang gabi po sa inyo, Dr. Paul.
Magandang gabi rin po sa inyo at sa ating mga viewers.
Ano po ang latest update natin tungkol dyan sa Taal po?
Well, as of 12 noon today, yung update ng Taal Volcano Observatory is on our FIVOLCS monitoring stations. Continuous pa rin po yung tremor na nagsimula kahapon at around 3:37 a.m. and still continuing pa rin po siya. Bagamat based on the latest real-time seismic amplitude monitoring or yung RSAM tinatawag, this measures yung energy ng earthquake, yung trend niya is bumababa na po. Pero still, again, abnormal pa rin ang lagay ng Taal dahil yung based on the latest sulfur dioxide measurement, mababa yung sulfur or yung asupre na ibinubuga ng Taal ngayon. It could indicate nga po na may blockage na nangyayari.
Dr. Paul, kung ikukumpara natin to sa mga previous eruptions ng Taal Volcano in the recent years, medyo marami-rami na rin kasi, how would it be different? No, walang malaking buga ng steam and gas and sand.
Yes, that's a good question po. No? But based on our estimates and evaluations, we are not expecting naman po na it would be in the scale of yung January 2020 eruption. There was a latest na phreatomagmatic eruption just last month, so mga ganun po, maliit lamang, and it's would be totally confined dun sa Taal Volcano Island, dun sa permanent danger zone niya.
And how would this impact the lake? Fishermen are very, very worried. Mag-iiba po ba yung acidity ng tubig, etc., etc.?
Let's not forget, sorry Doc Paul, let's not forget na may mga technical divers na malapit nang magsimulang sisirin ang lawa. So ano pong impact nitong restiveness ng Taal?
Okay. Based naman po dun sa sa studies ng Bureau of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources, especially yung latest na study nila right after the eruption of Taal Volcano noong 2020, very minimal yung effect, and that was a very big eruption ng Taal Volcano. Very minimal yung effect, almost walang effect doon sa lake waters. Now, with regards naman po dun sa yung ongoing na magsisimulang search and recovery operation, again po, yung kung magkaroon man ng pag-alburuto or magkaroon man ng eruption ng Taal Volcano, it would be totally confined, based on our estimates, totally confined to Taal Volcano Island. Now, as long as wala naman pong tao doon sa Taal Volcano Island, which is designated naman po talaga as the permanent danger zone, relatively safe naman po. And in fact, patuloy pa rin naman po yung economic activities doon sa Taal Lake as of now.
Okay. You said abnormal but slowly dissipating. When will you, at what point will you say na balik normal na, nothing to worry about?
Right now po, yung Taal Volcano has been at alert level 1 since July 11, 2022. So, every now and then, meron tayong, may mga possibility na magkaroon talaga ng mga maldita pagputok. Now, ito lang na, right now, yung nangyayari ngayon, meron kami nakitang recent spike doon sa isang parameter, which is yung earthquakes, plus yung mababang sulfur dioxide emission. So, kaya naglabas kami ng advisory to reiterate na iwasan pa rin talaga yung pagpunta doon sa Taal Volcano Island.
Well, Dr. Paul Fivox has already prohibited entry into Taal Volcano Island, but are there also health risks associated with this latest emission? And how can nearby residents protect themselves?
Okay, there's a possibility po na yung depending on the direction of the wind. Right now we are in southwest monsoon, so papuntang east ang hangin. Now, if magkaroon man po ng let's say hypothetical na eruption na may kahalong abo, ash, pwedeng dumapo 'yon dito sa mga towns sa west or sa east, yung Mataas na Kahoy, towns of Balete, yan pwedeng maapektuhan yan. Now, kung magkaroon man ng pagbagsak ng abo, we have to wear, yung suggestion ng PBOX is, or recommendation is, suot ng mga face masks. No? And then makakatulong din yung face masks in case na merong, may sulfur dioxide. Biglang tumaas yung sulfur dioxide, then pag nagkaroon ng eruption, matatanggal yung blockage. So that's another, makakatulong din po yung mga pagsuot ng face masks.
Okay. But to sum it up, you're not seeing that it will be as widespread, no? Yung mga ashfall, umabot dito sa Metro Manila noong July 2020, a few months before COVID.
Yes.
January.
January. Yes. We do not expect po na gano'n ang mangyayari. It will be, ito po, yung tumatakbo na file video ngayon, mga ganyan lang po.
At makakapagsisid pa rin yung mga technical divers at makakapag-deploy pa rin sila ng mga underwater cameras and so on safely.
It's possible naman.
Okay. Maraming pong salamat at magandang gabi sa inyo, Dr. Paul Alanis, volcanologist with PBOX.
We're just going to take a quick break, but coming up, one senator wants to ban online gambling altogether, while Malacanang is open to steeper taxes on these addicting games. We have the details of that when the big story returns. Keep it here on One News.
You're still watching The Big Story. Various environment-oriented groups lauded the Supreme Court's issuance of a writ of kalikasan against the Samal Island Davao City Connector Bridge project. On July 1, groups including Ecoteneo said the decision sent a strong message that no development is above the law, especially when it endangers the environment and community welfare. But what could be the reaction now that construction is still ongoing despite the court order? We discussed this with Carmela Marie Santos, outgoing director of Ecoteneo and co-secretariat of the Sustainable Davao Movement. Good evening and welcome once again to The Big Story. Carmela.
Good evening, Ses, Sean, and Pauline, and good evening to all the listeners and viewers.
First of all, is it your expectation that construction would be halted even if the order says there should be a TEPO issued by the Court of Appeals?
expectation-wise, we do not expect much from them. But legally, if they were really to follow this, what they are waiting for, I believe, is the TEPO that would order the stoppage of the construction. And depending on the evidence, it would be either temporary or permanent. So nothing is legally stopping them. And yeah, they're just waiting for the decision of the Court of Appeals.
There's going to be, Carmela, correct me if I'm wrong, but the last time we spoke, there's going to be some back and forth discussions between the two parties in the case, right? In front or before the Court of Appeals, before they can actually issue a TEPO, whether permanent or temporary.
Yes, they are given 10 days. DNR, DPWH, and the SIPLS are given 10 days to submit a verified return. So that would be by July 11. And then after July 11, the courts will evaluate the evidence before them, testimonies, and other studies.
Would you know how long the court needs? Like, how much time do they have to evaluate, or is this kind of a fluid thing that they can decide on their own?
I think they have I don't have the numbers, but I think they do have the urgency. The situation calls for urgency for them to review the evidence and come up with a decision.
Okay. Well, Carmela, the DPWH maintains that this current alignment or their project is a result of a 16-month full-scale feasibility study. So does your group find that lacking? Do you think they ignored some of your ideas, your voice?
They mentioned a 16 months full feasibility study, but in 2 months of their feasibility study, they already identified the site. So this is not information that came from us. In fact, if I may share, this was what the DPWH Region 11 shared in the Joint Committee hearing. So if you look at this one, the phase 1 of their feasibility...
there you go.
Sorry.
Okay. That's why you disappeared.
Yeah.
Okay.
The phase 1 of the feasibility study was between November to February 2019. Ibig sabihin, in 2 months' time, meron na yan silang pinropose. At itong 3 area lang in the Southern Corridor pa rin yung kanilang inaral. So, here we go again. They talk about the full feasibility study. What we have been saying from the beginning was, how did they come up with that alignment in the Southern Corridor between November and February? Tapos itong 3 lang talaga yung pinagpilian nila na pare-pareho to sa Southern Corridor. Parehas pa din yung issues and problems dyan.
Meaning, itong 3 options sa kikita natin, no? Yung Lizada Road, Azuela, and Barangay Road, yung sa may Island Garden City of Samar.
Lahat yan.
Magkakahanay sila, malalapit sila to each other.
Yes, okay. Magkakadikit lang yan. So parehas lang yung problema niyan.
Carmela,
pero ang sinasabi nga natin, ni-report nila na yun yung pinesent na nila nung February pa lang. Yun yung sinasabi nila na stage 1 ng feasibility study nila, yun yung pina-endorse na nila sa Regional Development Council ng February and March. Doon po tayo nagkaka-issue na paano nilang nagawa yun, na yun yung na-identify nila in so short a time at hindi inaral yung lugar ng maigi.
I'd like to go to the more extensive study of JICA, but before that, you know, the reaction of some residents in Samal and even Mayor Baste is that this is a concern of a privileged few and does not really address the problem of the residents there who are suffering from, you know, lack of transportation, the lengthy transfer from Samal to Davao by ferry.
Gusto ko lang pong ipakilala ulit ang Sustainable Davao Movement. We are a broad alliance of youth, women farmers, biodiversity advocates, sustainability advocates. Nagkataon lang na una pong nabalitaan nung mga resort owners yung issue dahil in FYI daw sila na doon nga yung alignment, yung site. Kami po, late na yan namin nalaman mga August na ng 2022 dahil nga merong inorganize ang EDIS na consultation and interfacing with DNR at doon po namin sila narinig, doon namin nalaman na meron palang ganong project. So yun lang po yung masasabi ko doon.
Actually, speaking of DNR, yun nga yung gusto ko tanong sa'yo, Carmela. Did you ever run to their office, yung regional office dyan sa Davao, and question them, bakit kayo pumayag, you know, aprobado ba talaga?
Maraming beses.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead, Carmela.
Maraming beses na po. In fact, nagkasabay nga kami ng pag-dive nila noong October 2022 and they acknowledge that, except na syempre yung ibang results nila yung pinapakita nila dahil dun iba naman yung binilang nilang corals, ibang area naman. Pero kung sa efforts, kung yun yung tanong, hindi po tayo nagkulang sa efforts at pagsubok na kumausap. Kahit nung nasa Mindanao Stakeholders Forum, January of 2023, talagang sinubukan pa rin po natin talagang i-reach out. Kaya nga nagsabi si Sec Tony noon, kaya Regional Executive Director 11 Bagani at that time, na isali ang Ateneo sa binubuong MMT ng mga panahong yan.
Well, now going back to the JICA study, it appears that it is even cheaper and it is official development assistance, walang loan, at hindi mas mahaharm ang environment, hindi masisira. Nakakapagtaka kung bakit pinili itong China. Ano ang sagot mo doon, Carmela?
Yung Japan po, Ministry of Economy, Trade and Industry, no, METI talaga yung nagpasimuno ng study. Doon sa pagtataka ninyo, kami po'y nagtataka din.
So pareho tayo nagtataka. Anyhow, we wanted
pero
to...
siguro,
we wanted to
gusto ko lang
speak
sabihin
to...
na hindi naman siya... ang sinasabi lang natin, Central Corridor kasi yung sinasabi nila na yung area na yon, yung Bridgeport, talagang sira na dahil gamit na gamit yun noon. So, kumbaga, kung usapin lang ng paninira, direct hit, logic will tell us, aside from the fact na mas mura yon, kung mananadya at magdi-direct hit ka na, hindi ba dun na sa sira na? So, bakit dun sa pinaka-okay pa?
Okay, Carmela.
Kung dun sa kinumpa ng sites.
Okay. Well, linawin lang natin. No? Actually, ODA din naman yung China. Pareho dun sa ino-offer ng Japan.
No, it's a concessional loan. It's a loan.
Oh, but the ODA is technically also
yes,
not naman free,
but cheaper.
But cheaper rates.
Yeah.
But let's go to the alignment, Carmela. Ano yung alignment na gusto nung sustainable Davao movement? Yun nga yung sinasabi mo doon na sa sirang part. But how far would it be from the current? And do you think may business interests kaya nagalaw yung alignment? Maybe para mas maganda, mas malapit dun sa subdivision or dito sa, I don't know, industrial park or whatever?
Mahirap sumagot ng do you think, pero ipapakita ko lang kung nasaan yung in-identify ng Japan METI. Nakikita po nito yung outline topographical map. Ito yung Central Corridor, yung shortest distance. Yung sinasabi natin southern, dito po siya sa baba. Kung tutuusin, indirectly, madadala pa rin naman yung mga sediments north and south. Ang sinasabi lang natin dito, kung talagang sa pag-aaral din lang at masusing pag-aaral, meron nang nag-aral noong 2016, naka-banner na sa SAMAL website na dyan yan. So hindi po kami ang nag-cause ng delay. Meron na kayong in-identify, bakit hindi nyo ngayon sinugod? Bakit parang kasalanan pa namin ngayon?
Well, Carmela, Mayor Baste Duterte did question and urge the petitioners to reflect on whether you are prioritizing environmental concerns and protection or if you're just serving private commercial interests. How would you respond to that?
earlier po ay pinakilala ko kung sino ang SDM. And hindi naman po kami nabuo na bago lang. We were formed in 2016 when we banded together for Green Space. So we are practitioners. We are comprised of youth organizations as well. So siguro dun lang sa pagpapakilala na yon, ko tatapusin yung tanong na kaninong interest ba yung aming dinadala dito. Sa totoo lang, hindi naman yung attention na to is very much unwanted. But we do want to discuss more or bring to the discussion and dialogue. Anong petsa na po? 2025. Sustainable development was coined 1970s. So bakit nandito pa po tayo sa usapin ng ideya ng progress na ang sinasakripisyo natin is yung ating hindi nga long-term future, immediate future. So yun lang po yung aming interest na sinusulong dito. Pero gusto ko rin pong sabihin na sa umpisa pa lang, we clarified we were never against a bridge. Kung ano yung kailangan ng the services, ng SAMAL especially, the health and emergency services, the transportation, the energy na hindi mabigay ng kanilang LGU na umaasa at humihingi sila ng tulong sa Davao City kaya kailangan nilang kumabit. Sana yun po yung pagtuunan ng pansin, but without sacrificing not just both sides, no, Davao and SAMAL, but Davao Gulf and kung sino ang nakarely sa Davao Gulf. Number 3 po, top 3 sa fish producing areas of the country ang Davao Gulf. So kung umaaray po tayo ngayon sa presyo ng galunggong, imagine na lang po natin kung ganito yung idea natin ng progress. Wala na po talaga tayong mahuhuling isda, mas magiging mahal pa ang isda at kung yung mga magsasaka natin ay umaatras na sa pagsasaka, tapos yung mga mangingisda natin ay mag-iisip na lang na maging tricycle drivers, sino na lang po ba talaga, kanino na lang tayo asa para sa natin, para sa pagkain?
Carmela, meron ba kayong katuwang na kumbaga pro-environment group sa SAMAL side naman? Kasi I understand kayo sa Davao side, di ba?
Meron pong Save SAMAL Reefs Alliance. Hindi lang sila nagsasalita ngayon or makapagsalita kasi 'di ba, dumaan tayo sa eleksyon, very volatile ngayon yung atmosphere at karamihan sa kanila mga kabataan. Meron po kung sa meron. Meron ding mga mangingisda na natatakot na hindi na maisali sa ayuda. Meron po sa SAMAL, pero nakita nyo naman kung ano yung mga lumalabas just this past week sa social media, di ba? So maintindihan natin kung bakit hindi sila handa na lumabas sa maging public, no? Maging public.
It is interesting if this time you will be backed by the government agencies because it's a new administration, it's a different administration. This was obviously rushed in the pivot to China of the previous administration. So let's await that. We thank you very much for your time. Carmela Marie Santos of Ecoteneo and Sustainable Davao Movement. Maraming salamat.
Now, in other news, as ASEAN neighbors rise to upper middle income status, the Philippines remains stuck in place. What's holding us back and what will it take to catch up? Kathy Yang has that report.
From President Trump's April 2 Liberation Day tariffs to the volatility in oil following the recent Middle East escalations, foreign investors in the Philippines say the biggest risk still is something closer to home.
Number one would still be bureaucracy, the ease of doing business. That has been always on the table of the German companies whenever they do business here.
Such shortfalls resurface as the World Bank's recent report revealed the Philippines remains a lower middle-income country as ASEAN neighbors Malaysia, Thailand, and Indonesia pull away into the upper middle-income club. As for Thailand, while still in the same league as the Philippines, its economy has powered ahead faster, farther, and further than the Philippines has in 40 years.
Big companies have chosen to locate in Vietnam in a way that the Philippines is kind of struggling to attract these big investments in the region. They're quite strong in electronics, electronic products. For example, they can produce entire laptops, entire smartphones, even electric vehicles in a way that we can't.
Compared to our ASEAN neighbors, the Philippines also lags behind in terms of labor productivity, says Ronald Balbieran of the University of Asia and the Pacific, in the areas of agriculture, construction, logistics, as well as wholesale and retail trade. As the Marcos administration pledged to pursue economic reforms and help raise income status, Philippine think tank PIDS calls for a return to good governance.
Political risk actually generate economic risk. That's why there might be a need for us to be able to manage political noise by diverting attention, resources on economic affairs that would truly matter and create value for the economy. Well, for the economic managers, they can actually reinforce the structural reforms, but the implementation would have to be strengthened, particularly in the ease of doing business, particularly in infrastructure spending.
At a time of heightened global uncertainty, the Philippines faces its greatest battle yet, its own self. Kathy Yang, We Are One News.
We're going to be pausing for another very quick break, but when we return, the race for the Senate presidency is getting more and more heated between incumbent Cheese Escudero and returning Tito Sotto. This early, there's already a show of hands. That and more when the big story returns. Keep it here.
Welcome back to the big story. Senator Mig Zubiri has filed a bill seeking a total ban on all forms of online gambling in the Philippines. Zubiri says it has become a silent epidemic that's already financially harming Filipino families. Under the proposed law, internet service providers, mobile network operators, and digital platforms will be mandated to block access to gambling websites. Zubiri's bill is among several already filed in the Senate, but it's the only one calling for a total ban.
Hindi na po ito basta regulation, total ban na po ito. Para tuluyan na natin matigil ang online gambling na umuubos ng pera ng ating mga kababayan mula sa iba't ibang sektor. And similar to how we banned isabong, similar how we banned Pogo, ito ay magandang hakbang para matanggal na po itong addiction sa ating mga kababayan. From our elderly to our children, it is so easy to fall victim to the silent epidemic of online gambling. The taxes earned are not worth the social cost. Nasisira na po ang buhay ng ating mga kababayan. Nag-aaway-away na po ang ating mga pamilya. Tumataas ang kaso ng krimen. Nababaon na sa gabundok na utang ang manggagawang Pilipino.
Meantime, Malacanang says President Marcos remains open to the proposal to tax online gaming operators. The Finance Department is pushing this measure to curb the current unrestricted access to gambling and online gaming platforms.
Ang Pangulo po ay nakikinig kung ano nangyayari sa ating mga kababayan at kung ano man po ang bill na ipapasa nila, ito'y pag-aaralan mabuti, kung ito'y makakabuti sa ating ekonomiya and at the same time makakabuti para sa taong bayan. Gusto natin limitahan ang itong klaseng mga pagsusugal at mabawasan ang mga gumon sa sugal. At ito po ay para sa taong bayan at ang lahat ng pwedeng suggestion at maaaring batas para ito ay masawata, hindi lang po yan tututulan ng ating Pangulo.
And the race for Senate presidency is heating up as the opening of the 20th Congress draws near. Senate President Cheese Escudero is widely seen as a front-runner, with multiple sources saying he already has the numbers to retain the post. He needs at least 13 votes to keep his position. Challenging him is former Senate President Tito Sotto, who has been vocal about making a comeback. In a recent interview, Senators Joel Villanueva and Alan Peter Cayetano said over 13 senators have already expressed support for Escudero. But Senator Mig Zubiri, who backed Sotto, says the race is far from over. Zubiri says he prefers Sotto's leadership style, one that builds consensus through caucuses rather than giving direct orders. He clarified, though, he is not calling Escudero a dictator, but admits he disagrees with how Escudero has handled issues, including impeachment and the national budget. Zubiri also hinted at a possible third force, saying they are open to supporting a dark horse candidate as long as that person can deliver on transparency and integrity in the Senate.
I think it still happen, guys.
Yeah.
I think it still happen.
Still,
I mean, there's 2 weeks to go. Maybe one of the blocks there will see us. So we're not saying it's a done deal.
Yeah.
Although signature-wise, I think it is. Marami nang pumirma doon. Pero sa resolution, I think may over 13 na sila. But anything can still happen between now till July 28. Gusto sana namin protektahan ang integridad ng Senado. Maawa na kayo. Bugbog na bugbog ng Senado. Sa matang tao, bugbog na bugbog ng Senado. So, never say die.
And we should never and will never forget our heroes. Our big picture tonight is the Bonifacio Shrine in Manila, captured this Monday, July 7th. That's as the nation commemorates the 133rd founding anniversary of the KKK, or the kataas-taasang kagalang-galangang katipunan ng mga anak ng bayan. The KKK was the secret society that sparked the Philippine Revolution. Led by Andres Bonifacio and fellow patriots, the movement launched a nationwide uprising in 1896 against Spanish colonial rule. Today, we remember not just a date in history, but the courage that fought for independence. Malapit na mag-Heroes Day.
Yes, oo. Maraming holiday sa August din.
Pero may public service announcement rin ako. Wala itong kinalaman sa 7-7 to be.
Oh, yes!
Ano 7-7? Kasi 25 is 7. 2 plus 5.
7-7-7 pa nga eh. Kasi July, 7th month, 7, 2025. So 7-7-7.
You're right.
Kaninong lucky number yun?
Lucky day.
Wow.
At maraming sale. So kung may kailangan kayo... Actually, yun yung
gabi na.
Pwede pa. Forever naman yun. Oh. Instead of mag-online gambling.
Yeah.
Bili na lang kayo habang may mga voucher pa.
Pero it didn't work for us today.
It didn't work for us today. The lucky na. Maybe tomorrow. Tomorrow's another.
Tomorrow is another day. But for tonight, that's it for the big story. Thank you so much for watching.
We are One News, all sides, all the time.
We'll be back here tomorrow, 7:30 p.m. as usual. Have a good night, everyone.